Getting an excuse note seems like a pretty complicated process. Can you explain the steps to me?
Sure. So we hope it's not that complicated. So generally, if you're sick or if you're dealing with personal issues that prevent you from being able to sit for an exam or finish an assignment or a PSET on time, you'll need to reach out to both your instructor and with S-Cube Dean. Now, it doesn't really matter which order you do that in. So if you speak with your instructor first, just let them know that you will be in touch with Student Support Services, and then you can call our offices to schedule an appointment with a dean, or you can come to our walk-in hours to meet with one of the deans.
We have you come in and we talk about your situation and then talk together about the best way for you to advocate for what you need in your classes in a way that's going to be a reasonable spot to come between what your professors are looking for and what you are needing. And so we would talk about that, and then after our meeting, you would send an email to your professor and CC whoever you met with, and that serves actually as the excuse note.
What are some valid reasons for requesting an excuse note?
So if you're ill to the extent that it's impacting your academics, it's recommended that you go to MIT Urgent Care to be assessed. And while medical won't write excuse notes on your behalf, the SQ deans can verify your visit to medical if necessary. Now, SQ can also support students who are dealing with significant personal issues as well. So if you get bad news from home that a family member is sick or has passed away, if you're going through a really bad breakup, if you're having significant trouble with a friend group or something in your dorm, and these things get to the point where they're really impacting your ability to study or to finish a PSET, or to sit for an exam, we can support you in those situations as well. I think it's important to keep that in mind, because I think sometimes students really overlook that we can be helpful in those situations and really just think about just the medical aspects of it. So I think whatever is going on, whether it's mental health or personal issues or medical issues, or if you have any questions, just come talk to us about what's going on and we can see what we can do to help you in those situations.
What wouldn't be a valid reason to request an excuse note?
Okay, so that's a little bit of a complicated question, because ultimately you can come in to talk about anything. Even if it's not something that we generally excuse for, we'll still help you figure out a plan and help you figure out how you want to speak to your professor. But the kinds of things that we don't generally excuse for are things that are considered sort of non-extenuating circumstances, but rather planned things. Like if you're an athlete and you have to miss classes or an exam or something like that for a competition, you know that that's coming up, and so we ask that you plan ahead with your professors for things like that. Interviews are a big one. They can be very tricky because we realize that a lot of times you find out about them fairly last minute, and it's hard sometimes to tell a company that you want to do it on a different day. So we've found that in general professors are pretty understanding, but that is something that's up to their discretion.
Let's say you're a student and you come to SQ and say, I am going to have this conference in New York in a couple of weeks. I'll have to leave for 2 or 3 days. And unfortunately, in those days, I also have an exam scheduled. So can you please allow me to miss this exam, or can I get an extension? We cannot provide an extension for those circumstances. However, what we encourage students to really do is that, first of all, just review your syllabi early on and see if there is any conflict between your personal schedule, personal calendar, and your academic calendar. And do your best to be as proactive as you can be. The earliest you try to resolve whatever conflict you have in your schedule, the better.
Is an S-cubed excuse note required every time I need an extension?
Not necessarily. Granting extensions is ultimately up to the discretion of the instructor of the class, and different instructors have different expectations for extensions. Although most faculty probably do expect that students will be in touch with a dean from S-Cubed before they consider granting an extension. So generally speaking, it's just recommended that if you're going to request an extension that you be in touch with Student Support Services.
Is there anything I need to bring or prepare for my meeting with the S-Cubed dean?
So I mean, ultimately, whatever happens, we're happy to meet with you. There are no requirements. But it can be very helpful before coming in if you can take a look at your syllabus, because that sort of tells us what the range of possibilities are for your class. If you look at it and it doesn't say anything too specific, we can still kind of go from there. But oftentimes there will be something, you might even find out that you don't have to meet with us because everything's solved. You looked at the syllabus and everything's all set. Or you might find out that you need to come to S Cubed, or you might find out something about sort of the way that your class likes to handle things. So that can be helpful. The other piece is if you have been to medical, it's helpful if you write down the name of the person who you saw. That way, if we need to verify that you went, it's a lot simpler.
Okay, so it's not like I have to get a note from them to bring to you or anything. I just have to know who they are.
No, not necessarily. In fact, MIT Medical does not provide medical notes or excuse note for medical visits. So usually they just encourage students to visit student support services.
If I'm sick, what should I do about my exam or my PSET today?
Okay. So the most important thing you should do is take care of yourself and seek medical assistance, as needed. And then once you take care of that, you should email your instructor, let them know that you're sick, that you won't be able to finish the PSET on time, turn in the paper on time, or sit for the exam, and that you will follow up with student support services. And once you do that, then you can reach out to our office to schedule an appointment to meet with a dean, or you can come to walk-in hours. But if you're too sick to actually make it into the office, it's okay, because you can always just pick up the phone and talk to one of us, and we can help support you by phone as well.
What's the difference between an excuse note and an excused absence?
Okay, so an excuse note in general is an email between you and a professor with one of us on it that is about something going on during the semester. So it could be an exam that you've missed or you have to miss. It could be an assignment that you need either excused or an extension for, or it could be that you've missed class for a legitimate reason and you're being excused from that day. An excused absence, the official term, you may actually often hear as an OX, but an OX, or that excused absence, is for the very end of a semester.
Now, students tend to get OXs for, again, extenuating medical, personal, or mental health issues. So if you're too sick to go to an exam, if you get bad news from home, or you have to go home for a funeral, or anytime something prevents you from making progress on your project or your exam, or whatever it is at the end of the semester, we can work with you and the professor to on that grading option so that you can have time to make up that assignment.